Hi, Desmos team. My name is Donna Green, and I am a department head of mathematics at Sir William Elock Secondary School. I also work at the University of Toronto in their teacher education program, instructing the AQ courses, and the ones I instruct are senior math and honor specialist math. I'm really excited for the possibility of working with you there at Desmos, as it's a uh, web program that I'm very excited about and I use frequently in my classes. What I'm going to show you today is an activity that I created, and it's one that I am particularly excited about because it is something that in the years that I've used Desmos, I never knew that Desmos could do regression and residuals and dealing with scatter plots of different types. So the activity I created is called Scatter Plots, Regression, and Residuals. It's not very short. It's something that I hope to build on, and hopefully if I get chosen for your fellowship, I can learn some different things that can help me build on and make this activity even better. What I'm going to do is show you the student preview. So in a lot of our courses, we have to deal with scatter plots and different types of models, being it linear models, quadratic models, exponential models, all different types of models. And as I mentioned previously, I had no idea that Desmos did regression. I used to use a program called Fathom, and we just found out this year that that is no longer being funded by our Ministry of Education. So I've been looking for a new program to use to do regression, and I was very excited to learn that Desmos does regression. So I spent some time trying to learn a little bit about how it's done, and I've made this very basic activity. And in our class, what we're trying to show them is when getting a scatter plot, what kind of model would be best to use. So in this first example, the students would have a set of data and they would look at it and they would decide that that was a linear model, and we would be instructing them on how to input the equation for the line of best fit into the Fathom here, and then they could draw the line of best fit. They can look at the R value, the statistics. I really like that they can graph the residuals and make predictions based on the residuals. They've got the numbers for the slope and the y-intercept. So that is our first introduction to modeling using data. Then we can get into different questions such as a quadratic model. And then what we can have the students do is make a quadratic model again, look at the statistics, talk about the R-squared values and how they can compare an R-squared value of 1, making that perfect correlation, versus if an R-squared value was something other than 1. Once again, if needed, looking at the residuals and the coefficients for the equation of the line of best fit. We can introduce these one by one, linear, quadratic. Then we can get to an exponential model. And when the kids graph it, what would be interesting for them to see is the exponential model, although not perfect, it has a strong R-squared value. You could look at the residuals, you could input the parameters into the equation, and what I absolutely love about this is that they can actually compare it to a linear model or a quadratic model. When looking at the linear model, it's great how easily they can see the residuals to notice the type of pattern that the residuals make to help them decide what the best type of fit is. I haven't seen any other program that could do something like that. Fathom that we've used before is not very efficient at doing anything other than just linear regression. It's harder to do regression for nonlinear types. And our problem with using something like Excel is our school is a laptop school and all students have laptops, but not all students have Excel. So Desmos is just an awesome program that could be used at my school because it's accessible to everybody. And then the fourth part of this is that we could give them data such as this, where the students don't necessarily know whether it's linear, quadratic, or exponential. So they could put in a model for all three. They could make the line or curve of best fit for the linear, for the quadratic, and for the exponential. They can compare the R values. They can see they're actually all quite close. If you had to pick one, the exponential one would be a better fit, but they're all quite close within that domain. Maybe the exponential and the quadratic a little bit more than the linear, but given the domain, and then what you can do is just quite easily zoom out and talk about what would happen if you were extrapolating versus interpolating. Again, there's no other program out there that can do anything with that kind of power. So just to summarize, I'm very excited about this activity, and it's definitely something that I want to build on, and I hope that if I get chosen for this fellowship that I will be able to learn some new things to be able to build on that to make it a better learning activity for my students. Once again, I think this is a great activity for anyone to use because it has that regression ability and it's a more powerful tool than anything out there. It's faster, it's quicker, it's more efficient, and it's just easier to use than anything like Excel or now in our case Fathom that isn't even licensed anymore. Not sure what other provinces or what other countries do, but for us Fathom is not available anymore, and Excel is expensive, and Desmos is just a great program. I love it, and I hope to see you. Thanks.